Anyway, I want to thank you all, and I like making these webinars as interactive as possible. So please, just I've got no one here; it's just me, literally going through the messages, the chats as they come in. So please, just share where you're coming from. I'd love to hear about it. Michael's coming from Islington. Guy's a man of the world who's travelled the world. Anna Maria, that sounds like a very Anna Maria Alves. Where are you from, Anna Maria? Apart from Wilstead and Green. That doesn't sound where you're originally born from or where your family's from. We got, Anna Maria from Brazil. Thank you so much, Anna Maria. Very far away. Love it. Well, we've got quite a few people booked onto the webinar today, so I'm delighted and I'm honoured. I want to thank you so much for being here. It's still 2 minutes past 6, so we'll start and then I'll explain the format so we don't have to go through this again a couple of times. So who else? Who's coming from outside London? Is that who's that? Guys from Northwood. Okay. Oh, Andrea. Okay, thank you, Andrea. Thank you so much. Liam, where are you from? Skyste, Roba from London. Thank you. Liam from Ireland, but now in Colombia. Wow. Okay, great. Whereabouts in Ireland are you from, Liam? Kerry from Ramshill in Bedfordshire. Oh, Galway. Okay, great. And whereabouts are you in Colombia right now? That's on my bucket list. Medellin, lovely. I can't wait to go there. It's on my bucket list. I can't wait for the book to be actually translated in Spanish and then go and spend the whole, do like 3 or 6 months. I want to travel the whole south of South America. Very cool. I hear Medellin is beautiful, so congratulations. And Kerry's from Ampthill in Bedfordshire. Okay, great. It is amazing, I can imagine. Yeah, great, thank you. And did I see Daniel? Is Daniel here? Did I see? Is this my friend Daniel Bisonetti, the one and only, the amazing genius, super genius? So Daniel, who's on talking here, it is. He's the man. He's a legend. Daniel is. How old are you, Daniel? You're 14. Anyway, he's a phenomenal speaker. He inspires me. He's been speaking at my expos for quite a few years. He's 14. Absolutely, they've got that right. Great. Well, Daniel, great to have you here. Thank you for all your kind words. You are an inspiration for many people. So Daniel Bisonetti, he's phenomenal at what he does. He's when it comes down to understanding about nutrition, food, mindset, he's the man. So yeah, he's great. So I want to thank you all. I'm going to literally wait 1 more minute. So we're just going to wait 5 minutes. We'll be polite for those that are going to come in just 5 minutes late, and then we're just going to kick into gear. I am recording this. Look, I will say now, because we're 5 minutes in, this is very casual, okay? I am going to simply explore this platform of obviously running webinars in a way that I'm going to do it my style, which is I haven't prepared. I just literally done 6 or 7 subjects that I want to cover every week, which I feel are important and relevant within the book. And obviously some of you might have bought the book, some of you haven't bought the book, and it's fine. Either way, if you read it, great. If you haven't read it, it doesn't matter. I'm simply trying to share a few ideas here and explore a few opportunities. And the format's going to be, as I said, freestyle. Every time when I do a talk, so I've had the Best You Expo. I've run that for 5 years, and I'll spend a bit more about myself. But I've never prepared for my talks. I knew what I was going to talk about, but then I just literally and I think it's the best way. I think when you do things naturally, we have this inner wisdom, and I trust it sometimes. And if things go wrong, hey, who cares? So Daniel, thank you so much. I'm reading it. It's such an amazing book. Thank you so much. Well, guys, listen, the subject of the talk today is called the Manifesto. Okay, so it's all around the book, the question, find your true purpose. And what I wanted to do here was to simply share ideas around how I've come to what I've come to, which is these conclusions of what and how I see personal professional growth And then for some of you, you might think, well, you know, what is his expertise? What does he know in order to kind of like, you know, share these big ideas? And well, hey, I'm going to do that. And some of you might agree with me. Some of you might not disagree with me. But at the end of the day, you know, it's based on my life experience, but it's also based on being an entrepreneur for 30 years and having run and promoted seminars, you know, for 10, 11 years now, and promoted probably 600, 700 speakers. So I've got some expertise. The challenge, I think, comes with time for some of us, or for some of us. For me, it has, and I'm sure maybe for you as well, is when is it the right time for me to take a step forward? When is it the right time for me to come to the forefront and share my message and my ideas? And for me, it was difficult because obviously working, promoting with Richard and Dr. Richard Bandler and Paul McKenna for a long time, being their promoter, you know, it put me kind of on a journey of, hey, hold on, you know, you're working with these guys, you know, what do you have to share? But the bottom line is look, born in London, and my parents are Spanish immigrants, and I left London when I was 9, lucky enough to keep the English language. And so that's why I consider myself bilingual, but I consider myself Spanish because I was brought up in Spain. My parents are Spanish. And so I had a beautiful upbringing, you know, as normal, many kids. I lived in a beautiful place of the south of Spain, in Marbella on the coast. My first challenge, I suppose, was my dad died when I was 15. And, you know, it kind of, you know, centered me in a way that I had to take responsibilities. But I was always responsible. I was always kind of like, you know, I was the captain of the football team. I used to be in charge of the class. I was the corporal in the army. So I always had this responsibility within me anyway. But I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur too. So from a very early age, I wanted to become an entrepreneur. My background is sales and marketing. I've always wanted to get involved in that. But it was through, you know, personal development in my mid-30s, early 30s, you know, and like many of you, I don't know, I'm assuming here, but, you know, kind of for me in particular, it was you know, listening to Brian Tracy. It was listening to Jim Rohn. It was listening to Tony Robbins. These were tapes. I know some of you might know what those things were, but tapes. And I had them in the car, and I had them in my little Sonys. So it was from a very early age, I was quite interested in personal development. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, so many great books. But it was, you know, Change Your Life in 7 Days, that put me on the journey that I am now. And that literally brought me on a journey which has, you know, kind of been pretty amazing. But I lost kind of my money the first time when I was 26. I got together with my wife when I was very young. I was only around 19, 21 when we got together. And but you know, I had 2 kids. I was only 25, 26 when I had kids, and I had 2 kids. But I lost my house the first time when I was 26, and my real estate went bust. And it was this story, which I didn't really think it was a story. And I share that in the book, that I literally had 100 pesetas. I had all these savings, which is about a pound coin. Imagine, I had loads of pound coins, and I had them in this box of roses. And I just literally, I remember that was it. I was just taking money from there and buying food on a daily basis, you know, basic stuff. And nearly all of it was going on nappies. And that was it. And the last amount of money dropped in my hand, and that was it. And I remember that was it. Penny dropped, that I just didn't have any more money. That was it. So I had to start. I started working in timeshare resorts on inviting people to, you know, from the street to go and visit timeshare resort. We got paid top dollar. It was tough, but I turned it around. Literally within a week, I was making like £1,200 a week. And then from then on, I built up. You know, I was running eventually sales lines, converting hotels into timeshare resorts. I'm fast forwarding a lot here. And then I started promoting, developing properties and all sorts of things. So I came into personal development quite late, as far as really focusing into personal development when I was around 38. So this book the question is my experience having promoted so many people, having read so many books, having attended so many seminars, and having been outside the seminar room and then being inside the room, that then kind of like, you know, put me on this journey of really modeling. Now, what NLP gave me a set of skills that I'd never had before. And I'd done a lot of training. I did so many closing, you know, courses for, you know, timeshare was all run by Americans. So it was all about closing, building rapport, mirroring. But I remember I'm standing in the middle of the seminar room, and my NLP course in 38, and I'm thinking, why am I learning these things now? So obviously what it gave me was a set of skills in order for me to think and to learn how to think and to think bigger than I was thinking at that time, and how to reframe the challenges that I was having. And I thought it was pretty resourceful. I do understand that I've got certain, I do have certain things within me, you know, resilience, and we'll explore that in other chapters. But what I wanted to say is that for the first time, I was aware of my thoughts. I was aware of what I wanted to do. And then NLP opened, you know, a complete new journey for me. So what I've discovered as an NLP is that I'm a modeler. So, you know, NLP, we model. So all I did was really, okay, how does, you know, Tony Robbins, what is he doing? What techniques is he using? How's he sharing? How's he inspiring people? Is he connecting with people? Robert Kiyosaki, you know, so I really modeled so many people, because also I interviewed them for the Best You afterwards, and I've promoted them. So, you know, kind of, I've had this condensed, intense 10 years of working with the biggest and changing my careers and getting into this. So I did self-publish already 3 books. The first book I did was one called 123 Ways to Look at Life, which was simply a quote and a reframe. Very simple book, but I've always been a massive fan of quotes. And then I started writing a series of books, also self-published, which was more confidence and more motivation. 11,000 words, quite thin, but they were all around NLP. So, and when I trained in NLP, my intention was to become an author for the Spanish-speaking market. That was my intention. But I got distracted because I am promoting Richard Bandler. And I've got to say that, thank you, Daniel. And I'm seriously, I want to insist, and because I know some of you have joined us now, this is going to be a very, very interactive webinar. Okay, so at the end, I'm going to ask you to, well, I'm going to bombard you with questions, but I'm going to also ask you to ask me questions. So please, we're going to interact a lot if you would like. I do have a poll here because I wanted to know a little bit more about yourselves. And actually, you know what? I'm going to fire that poll now. So it's there for you. Fill it in. It just gives me a little bit of an idea of who you are, what you are, and hey, if you read the book or not. And I'm going to be doing this in all the webinars, so hope you don't mind doing that again. So I've come to the conclusion after doing what I've done is that when I started writing this book, I started identifying the flaws of the industry, the flaws of the personal development industry, what I liked and what I didn't like, and what was missing. So when I started writing the book, well, I started writing the book, and we all have different ways of writing the book. And I'm more than happy to share how I came out, how I wrote my book. Because this book took me a long time, but it was because I wasn't aligned with the message of the book. And the book was teaching me lessons as I was writing it. I would also share that. I can tell you that this book has transformed and changed my life, because I ended up asking myself these questions. And I couldn't be incongruent. I couldn't lie to myself and not ask myself those questions without taking action. I couldn't. That's why it took me longer to write the book, because I had to make decisions that I was holding back on. So this book, when I literally had it, when I was writing it, I realized that there was a piece that was quite, I wouldn't say detrimental, it's quite critical of the industry. And what it is, then when I wrote it, I decided, is this a manifesto? Am I starting my book with a manifesto? And then I remember I was asking different people about, is manifesto the right word to start a book with, or isn't it? And some people, which I really respect, like, for example, Sharon Lecter, she was my mentor, and she was one of the authors of Rich Dad Poor Dad, you know, who I got to connect to and I shared my book with. And she said that she thought it was great. But I was a bit wary. So one of my editors told me I shouldn't, I couldn't write it, call it the manifesto, but I wanted to go with it. So the book starts with a manifesto, and the way I intend to do this, so I'm going to read obviously parts of it, and part of it I'm just going to literally share. So this book, this obviously webinar we're running here today, is around the manifesto. So I'm going to share my ideas here, and I'm going to ask you some questions about what your thoughts are. If I'm off chart, if you agree with me or not. But I started with this. So it starts with, what is it you want out of life, you know? And what I learned was, because of the title, if I go back one step, what is the title of the book? And the idea is that if I learn anything with NLP, if I learn anything with personal development, is that, you know what, if you don't learn how to think, if you're not aware of your internal dialogue, if you're not in control of your internal dialogue, if you do not manage your thoughts and make sure that you ask yourself, you know, the right questions that motivate you. I don't care how many Tony Robbins events you do. I don't care how many books you read. I don't care what you do or what you've learned. For me, it's not all about, but it's pretty much all about the internal dialogue you have, what you're thinking, the quality of your thinking, and the questions that you're asking yourself. Because I'm a big fan of history, and if you've read the book, you will see that there's a lot of, I talk about history a lot. I talk about the Romans, the Greeks, I talk about all sorts of things, because, kind of what we've managed to do and achieve in 1,000 years, 500 years is absolutely phenomenal. And it's all there in the history. But what I thought is that anyone that is or has conquered or has explored or has invented or has become successful or managed to achieve great things, I think they've asked themselves empowering questions. They've asked themselves something that has got them thinking, what's on the other side of that sea? Or how can I climb that mountain? Or how can I make something that flies? And that's it. So it's a trigger. So that was it. It was the title. That's how I came with the idea. And then also I thought, if you do ask yourself the empowering questions, what's going to happen is you're going to find your purpose, because we have this phenomenal inner wisdom within us. And if we don't have the answers, we will go and find it, because unconsciously we will find ways and solutions. We'll have our feelers out. We'll have our eyes looking out. We'll have all our senses looking out for whatever it is that those empowering questions are. And I'm not trying to get you to kind of like follow me on Instagram, because again, you'll see that I'm very brutally honest. If you do or you don't, it doesn't really make any difference to me. But a lot of the things that I share on my Instagram is about questions. And there's so many phenomenal great quotes about questioning and questions. So, oh, Sarah said she got the book online, still waiting for it. Well, sorry, Sarah, I'm sure you get it soon. If not, please let me know. So let's start with the manifesto. So basically what I'm saying is, what is it you want out of life? And ideally, what we should want out of life is to be more, is to do more, shouldn't we? I mean, we should all want that. And this is what the book is about. So I say that obviously my life has been interesting, challenging, it's been exhilarating. I've worked very hard. I've had very, very, very dark moments, man. I'm an entrepreneur. So, I've had the Spanish HMRC. I've had, unfortunately, the banks repossessed my houses when I lived in Spain. And, I've had great moments when I had lots of money, and I had really bad moments, when I've had to literally just get on the phones and sell things, so I've done that. So, but my life has been interesting, and it's been scary and frustrating, but it's been overwhelming at times, but it's been really exciting and deeply exhilarating, especially this second part of my life, My pride and joy, without a doubt, is my family. I've always said that, and I've always added the word legacy, and I hope you join me in future webinars, because I will be talking about legacy and what does legacy mean. So there's a lot about this book has created for me a legacy, and everything that I do is about legacy. But they're my legacy, my family are. And I've worked thousands of hours, many more than I should have had, instead of spending quality time with that. And I do regret that. There's certain things I do regret. But, I did what I had to do at the time, because, it was tough. And I wanted to build a great house for my kids, and I wanted to provide them private education. And nothing or anything was going to get in the way of that. So that was it. But I came into the world in personal development late, as I said. I found that book that inspired me, which is Paul McKenna's book, Change Your Life in 7 Days, which was packed of NLP. And that was the one that got me in a seminar room. I was very, very reluctant to do a seminar. I couldn't see myself sitting in a room with 250 people going rah, 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 rah. And that's not what the course is about. The NLP practitioner course is not about that, but I didn't know what to expect. So I was very skeptical. And I remember standing in the middle of the room, day 3. First of all, I met Dr. Richard Bernardo. I thought, wow, this guy's amazing. And then the second thing was just like, it just really kind of, it blew my mind. And that was it. I was standing in the middle of the room, and I knew I wanted to do something different then. I wanted to become an author for the Spanish-speaking market. That was my plan. And something maybe similar has happened to you. Maybe something, a book, a quote, something has triggered some kind of inspiration that's put you in a completely different journey to where you are now. And that's beautiful. And we have to follow that. I think sometimes, we tend to stick to the same things, and we have to be open to change. I say that, and I'll carry on repeating that. We have to be open to change. The moment I started reframing change is good. The moment I started seeing adversity as, oh my God, what exciting things are going to happen to me. And I really meant it, because I really thought that this is challenging now, but I am learning something from this. This is going to take me somewhere completely different. And what is that place going to be? So welcoming change has always been a great thing for me. And, but the idea is obviously, that I believe that there's sometimes, and I've interviewed a lot of people that have had or do have a turning point in their lives that has put them on a completely different journey. Not everyone, but a lot of people have. So at the time I was working in real estate, and I didn't really like what I was doing. And if, as I said, if I then from doing the seminars, I became a practitioner, master practitioner, trainer of NLP. Then literally I decided, because my friend Simon, who's working with Paul McKenna, said, hey, Paul's off to America. Would you like to carry on running his training company? And it wasn't NLPLife training, it was Paul McKenna training. And I said, no, I live in Spain. I have beautiful weather here. I don't want to live in London. Absolutely not. But you know what? I remember I was speaking to my wife and I said to her, look, if it's not me, then who? If it's not now, then when? That was a question I asked myself. And I wanted to do it. And I wanted to do it because I remember how inspired I was by the impact of, you know, what these courses were doing to people and how we created change literally within minutes or within a week. So that was it. I changed careers. I started the NLPLife training, which is now the largest NLP training organization. I still work with Richard and Paul, but I founded the Best You. And the Best You was in my journey of really seeing what was missing as a modeler, where I potentially provided people a new platform where speakers, thinkers, inspirers could share their ideas, and also a place where people could go and find and connect with them. That was the whole idea of the Best You and the Best You Expo. And this is where we are now. But what I've done is what I've seen is that, you know, that there's a lot of people in this personal development world that I believe that they lost their way. And I mean that from a place of love. Okay. I mean that from a place of love. I believe they've lost their way. So, you know, they came across expert who simply copy, you know, they copy someone else. I've seen so much of that. People that just copy. They just copy. They just copy someone else. They're looking exactly the same as someone else, and they're just not doing anything. The other thing is I've come across authors, trainers and coaches, which are just not congruent with their message. Oh my God. I swear to God, I've met so many people that talk, you know, they've written books about happiness. And I met quite a few of those, and they are probably the angriest and happiest people I've met in my life. They're just terrible. I met people that talk about, I don't know, losing weight, and you know, they're just not losing weight themselves. Or people talk about changing their life and they still got the same life that they had 20, 25 years ago. They're miserable people. So I met a lot of that, and that's been very disappointing. I think I mentioned in the book, I would recommend a lot of people to actually read some of these thinkers, some of these inspirers, some of these leaders in the personal development world. I recommend they should read their books. So I think being congruent in whatever it is that you do in life is really important. I am very accessible. I want to make sure that there's no ego when I'm around. I know when my ego is present, and I control it. But I think whatever it is that you do in life, you have to be congruent. You have to be congruent. So in the industry of personal development, what I call it, I've defined this. I own the domain, and my second book is called this. It's called Selfish Development. So I believe there's a lot of that. And there's two sides to it. But I believe there's a lot. And I mean by selfish development is they're putting money in their pocket. Okay. So there's a lot of people of that. Now, on the other hand, there's the people that go to the seminars, read the books, attend all the seminars, they do the webinars, they do everything. And basically what happens is that, you know, there's three types of people. There's number one, it's those that have given up. You know, they just simply don't want to grow anymore. And it's sad because some people are like 30, they're 40, they're 50. They're giving up. They're giving up to their job. They've given up to their marriage. They've given up to their friends. They've given up to making sure that everyone else is happy apart from themselves. So they've given up in life because they don't want to create change for other people, because they want to make sure that everyone's comfortable apart from themselves. And that's really sad, because, you know, I think we are ultimately here responsible to become the best version of ourselves. That's what we are. We are definitely, that's our objective. There's number two, those that read the books. There's those that read the books, attend the seminars, and then basically they don't necessarily take any action. You know, they're still in the same place. It's like Groundhog Day. I've seen them year after year after year. They're still in the same place. They haven't really implemented any of the things that they've learned, or they haven't really applied any of the teachings. So they're just like, you know, seminar junkies or book junkies, and they just literally don't implement the techniques that they learn. And then there's those number three, the type three, which is the ones that we look up to. Those are the ones that we say, wow, you know, they're really inspiring. He or she is really amazing. You know, they inspire me. They change my life. And that's we should all really, our objective in life should be to become that, to look at how we can leave a legacy, so we can inspire others, and people can say, hey, you know, he or she did these amazing things. So obviously, which would you rather be? And I remember, this is funny, was when I was writing the book, for me to get inspiration, what I would do is I would go walk. And then when I walk, I would come up with loads of ideas, and then I just have to make notes instantly on my phone, and then just I extend on them afterwards. And I remember I wrote this thing down, and what I wrote is that I would rather be alone. I came up with this idea that I would rather be alone. I would rather be alone than be with people that are negative to me. I would rather be alone than people that don't encourage me to push myself harder. I would rather be alone than be with people that want to bring me down. I would rather be alone than be with someone that is hurting me, or is upsetting me, or is being detrimental to my life, or someone that's negative. I would rather be alone. So I remember I wrote this, and then at the end, I'm audiobook, so I love Audible. So I was listening to Brené Brown, Braving the Wilderness, and in one of her chapters, yes, he talks about the same thing. And I'm a massive believer in serendipity. I don't believe that nothing happens. I think everything happens for a reason. So she talks about that. She talks about Braving the Wilderness, which is about that. It's a phenomenal book. I highly recommend you read it after you read my book. But I'm only joking. But Braving the Wilderness is a phenomenal book. But what it does, it talks about that. It talks about being alone and being prepared to be alone and being prepared to walk the path, which is what a leader does have to do in order to succeed. So that's a thought for you. And the world has more ways to stay in communication than ever. Yet I really feel that we're disconnected, with all these apps and social media ways of communicating. We just don't talk anymore. We don't talk anymore. We don't connect with people anymore. So, I think it's time for us to really start appreciating and understanding what is it we're here for, what is our purpose, what do we want to do in life, and how can I become the best version of myself instead of being focused or driven by other people's directives, instructions, or whatever it is that they want. So spending time on focusing on you, on what you want, and that's what I hope the book does. It just thousands of questions, throws all sorts of questions at you that would help you kind of ask yourself those empowering questions. So the first thing is I want you to be honest, and I talk about honesty in the book, and I think that it's just a really, really important thing. I say this quite frequently when I run events or at the Zara, sorry, I'm just reading something from Zara here. She says, I like the phrase, I would rather be alone. It's better than alone and grow than being around with negative people. Absolutely. But one of the things that I think is really important is to start with honesty. People struggle with honesty. Anyone agree? I'll take some of you saying yes. People struggle with honesty. And I don't know why that is. Because I think if you say to people, look, and again, we do this in the Legacy Club, but if you say to people, look, I'm coming from a place of love, and you've asked me for my feedback, or, hey, I'm going to give you some feedback, but I'm coming from a place of love. And you tell them that. So then we put the ego aside, and then you just speak to them honestly. It's what we all need. We need honesty. But the challenge I believe we have is that we are dishonest with ourselves. How many of us, how many of you, we keep lying to ourselves on a daily basis. We simply keep putting on excuses. Oh no, I'll go and lose weight next week. Or oh no, I'll study next week. Or I'll learn how to dance salsa next year. Or whatever it is, we just permanently keep lying to ourselves. And we have to be aware of that internal dialogue, and we have to be aware of the dishonesty with ourselves. So if you had a friend, I would hope, if you had a friend that was permanently lying to you and kept telling you he was going to do things or she was going to do things and he or she didn't, I hope you tell them where to go. And that's got to be somewhere far. So it's the same with yourself. So the first thing is be truly honest with yourself, okay? Don't allow to carry on lying to yourself. So stop procrastinating, stop lying, stop, giving yourself loads of crappy ideas that you don't necessarily implement. So as I said, I believe we're obliged to become the best version of ourselves. I quote here Dr. Sylvia Earle, which I had the pleasure of meeting. You should Google her, Dr. Sylvia Earle. Yeah, so true. Actions speak louder than words, my friend. That's Daniel. So Dr. Sylvia Earle, which I met, she's a biologist. She says that you cannot care about what you do not know about. So the fact is that, if I've done anything with this book, when I've written it, as you see, it ends like that. It's because I believe that ultimately we're here for a reason, and that we have to take responsibility for making the world a better place. You you and I, we have to become the best version of ourselves. If you and I become the best version of ourselves, our family, our surroundings will become better, and our workplace will become better. And then our local city and town and country and world will become better. And we can't leave it to they, because there is no they. There is no they. Oh, they. No. There's no they. It's me, you, it's us. We have to do it. So I say, obviously, like many of you, I've had to work hard. It hasn't been easy for me. I end this part of the manifesto, and I finished with the book of Bronnie Ware, who is an Australian nurse who worked for many years in a palliative care. She spent years recording the regrets of those who were nearing the end of their life, and compiled them in a best-selling book, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. That's the title of the book. And the book listed many common regrets. And the number one is that I wish I had the courage to live the life true to myself, not to the life of others or that the others expected of me. So that's number one. I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. That's the number one. And number two, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Yeah, probably. I'll sign up to that one as well. I wish I had the courage to express my feelings. I haven't had a good problem with that. I can express my feelings, and I've done that for a long time, and it's got me in trouble sometimes, but I think it's a good thing. The book, the name of that book, it's the top, someone's asking me the name of that book. That's The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying, and that's from Bronnie Ware. She's an Australian nurse. So this is the top 5 regrets. So the second regret is I wish I hadn't worked so hard. Number 3 is I wish I had the courage to express my feelings, which I haven't had an issue with. Number 4 is I wish I had stayed in touch with my friends. Anyone? Yeah, I believe that's true. I've lost a lot of friends along the way, but that hasn't been a problem for me. I believe that, you can't keep the same friends you've had since, for 40, 45 years. It's normal. You're going to change. But the friends that I have are the friends that I love, that love me, that support me, that care for me, and vice versa. Okay, it's a two-way street. When it comes to love, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to friends, it has to be a two-way street. And if someone's negative, seriously, get rid of them as soon as possible. Okay, don't live the life that they want you to have, which is a negative one. And then number 5 is I wish that I had let myself be happier. That's the number 5. That's the number 5th regret. I wish I had let myself be happier. But all the times we're trying to find happiness. Where is happiness? Where is happiness? Happiness is right now. If you want to have a chat with someone in a webinar, I might be happy. I'm very happy right now, actually. So I don't know about you guys. So I'm happy. People are in this pursuit of happiness. Happiness is enjoying what you have when you've got it and making the best of it without trying to make it this big utopia, which it isn't. But we must have the moral responsibility to strive to do our best in a life with no regrets. I shared something that I'm because, kind of, even as the book is already published, I'm still exploring because I'm writing things. And one of the things that I believe in is that I believe that if you do not think about what you're thinking about, you might start regretting about regretting. And what I mean is that there's a very thin line between thinking about doing something or regretting. There might be circumstances of life that all of a sudden dictate that you now regret not doing something. Does that make sense? So thinking and regretting. So I highly recommend that you understand your mortality. I was saying, if we had a number here, if we had a number here and the number had a countdown of how many hours or days we have, I think we'll be pretty much more focused on doing the things within the time frame that we have. But you see, the thing is ours is blank. We don't know. So if you live your life understanding that you're mortal and appreciating what you have and focusing on not having any regrets, then, which means you're thinking, then it might mean that you potentially, hopefully, won't have to go through these 5 top dying regrets of people, So that's my thought of that. I'm even getting myself a little bit emotional. I'm only joking. So I'm going to end this this first webinar with the and there's questions and answers, guys. I want to interact. I want to engage with you guys. So thank you so much for being here. So as I said, I believe we have the moral responsibility to become the best version of ourselves. I interviewed someone, a lady called Ros Savage. That's why I was asking Guy if it was any for me. So this was a lady who I interviewed, and she told me when I interviewed her that she wrote 2 eulogies for herself. The first one was based on her life and her current achievements, continuing life to live as she was, not taking too many risks. Okay. Then the second eulogy was one with no regrets. She wrote one with no regrets, doing the things that excited her, that gave her goosebumps, something that made her feel alive. And the second one is a life where at the end of it, you know, you've lived and you made a difference. So what I hope this book will do is will encourage you to be completely honest with yourself. It will show you how to learn, how to think, how to be aware of the quality of your thoughts, and to ask yourself empowering questions. That's what this book is about. Because becoming the best you starts with you. The best you is you. And I mean this, that I want you to stop from now on, and hopefully you've already started. Stop blaming circumstances. Stop blaming others. Stop blaming the government, Brexit, or whatever it is that you're blaming. Stop that. Stop that. And just take responsibility for your life. Okay? So that's pretty much my manifesto. And I believe that the whole idea of what I'll be sharing here in this webinar and others is about that. I'm going to be talking about the power of the questions, the power of empowering questions. And there's a couple of things that I wanted to do now. So I know some of you have probably filled in the poll, and I appreciate that. But what I wanted you to simply start asking me questions related to any of the subjects, okay? And I will at the end, if some of you are interested, if you still haven't got the book, I will send you links. Amazon, you can buy on Amazon. I've got one where we send the free shipping. The price is pretty much the same, but we do shipping anywhere in the world. And then the other opportunity is for those of you that have bought the book, I also have the e-course. I've created an e-course, which is, it is an additional investment, but it's for those that maybe a little bit more visual. So it's me coaching. And I do 8 modules within the e-course, if it could be for you. Apologies. So I will share that at the end for those of you that want it. But I would love to hear any questions. Does any of the things that I've been talking about here for the last 5 minutes, does it make any sense? Any questions? Anything that you guys want to share about the manifesto? Any parts in particular about the manifesto? I'd love to hear more. Because obviously right now I can see there's loads of you there, but right now it's me talking to my camera and my laptop. So Liam was saying here that the only time that we have is now. Absolutely. And Zara, what is the best way to beat procrastination? That's a great question. I don't know. I mean, look, there's loads of ideas that I would probably explore with this. I think procrastinators obviously, you know, make pictures in their mind of, you know, things, you know, being able to delay things in order to kind of like, you know, hey, I'll get it done, but when I'm ready. And that what a procrastinator does. I mean, what I would do is probably 2 things. I'm a big fan of being timelines. Big fan of timelines. So if you've done timelines or you haven't done timelines, I would highly recommend that you do it. This happened to me. What happened to me is that I did a timeline, and I did it at the NLP practitioner course. And I had my goals as far as getting my book written, and this was quite a few years ago. I had all this in 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years. And then what happened is 2 years later, I was doing another seminar with Richard in Orlando and called DHE. And then this lady did a timeline with me, and I wasn't really keen on doing it. I thought, hey, I've already seen my timeline. But what happened is that my timeline had moved. And what it meant is that I literally had my same goals in exactly the same place because I was procrastinating. So my goals were there. So what happened is I came back in my timeline from the future to the present. And what I did is that when I came back to the present, I put forks I put forks in my timeline to whatever my goals were, and I stuck them to the ground, and I make sure that they would not move. I would never, ever procrastinate or something like that again. Something that was important, I would stick forks down. And then what I would do is I would say that my time is now. So, you know, even with timelines, you know, your future, we normally have the future ahead of us. If you just simply just do that, you move your head forward, you're already a little bit into the future. So there's an idea, there's a technique for you. But again, listen to your internal dialogue. Stop lying to yourself. If you're procrastinating, it's because you're lying to yourself and you're allowing yourself to lie to you, you know, and you shouldn't. So listen to your voice. And when it says to you, oh no, I'll use it tomorrow, hold on a minute. No, you're not. You're lying to yourself, man. So, you know, have a voice that's deep, that's telling you, no, you're lying to yourself. This is not acceptable. Something like that. But anyway, there's an idea. Hope that helps. What practical things can you do to find purpose? Well, you know what? It was, and thank you, Michael, for sharing that. So purpose. So the book is obviously, the book is about the question, find your true purpose. So what happens is that I believe that if you start asking yourself empowering questions of what am I here for? What is it I want to do in life? How can I make a difference? How can I inspire others? How can I, where do I see myself in 3 years from now? Where do I see myself in 5 years from now? How can I get other people to look up to me and think, wow, what an amazing journey. What did I do? So if you start asking yourself these really empowering questions, what's going to happen is you're going to start finding the answers. And by you finding those answers, what it means is going to take you on a journey of you finding your purpose. I believe that. Because if you ask yourself questions related to something that is fulfilling for you, something that makes you wake up in the morning, you know, saying, wow, who I'm going to engage with today, you know, what exciting things I'm going to do. That's going to drive you. That's going to give you that purpose that you need. And if you find your purpose, then everything else will fall into place. I haven't come across an explorer and a successful business person and a top athlete that didn't have a very clear purpose. They knew what they wanted to do, and nothing and no one was going to get in the way of that. So discover your true purpose by asking yourself empowering questions. What is it I want to do? How can I make a difference? I hope that answers your question, Krishna. Liam, what were the key, Liam is asking, what were the key questions you asked yourself to get yourself to where you are today? Well, what happened to me, Liam, is that I was already a promoter, okay, in personal development. Here I was on my expert number 2. Okay, I've got a name within the industry. People know who I am. They know what the best you is all about. But I still wasn't kind of like, you know, happy with myself because I was holding back. And it was, as I said, by me asking myself really empowering questions. What have I not done yet? Why am I not doing it? Am I concerned about what my family would think? Am I prepared to make the tough decisions? What will happen if I make the tough decisions? Who's going to hurt from it? What happens if I don't make those right decisions? How am I going to hurt? So it's simply spending time with myself. So what happened was then from me asking myself those questions, I made decisions which affected my life with my wife and my marriage. And so I've gone and made decisions where now, you know, kind of, I feel great. I exercise, my diet's changed completely. I'm extremely focused on what I want to do and about the brand, the Best You and the Best You Legacy Clubs and everything that I'm doing. And nothing's going to get in my way. And kind of, you know, that's my focus. So that's what happened to me when I asked myself those questions. But you know, I wasn't there. I wasn't there. I was there, but I wasn't there. And that's why kind of, I think, I really believe that it is down to that. Questions, purpose gives you legacy, fulfill life. That's the way I see it. It's not that simple. There's a lot of work in that. Okay. But thank you, Zara. I'm glad that helped. I'm still going through some questions here. Thank you guys for engaging with me. It does really help because sometimes you'll be webinars and I'm talking here to myself. I think I'll do enough of that. Okay, who else has asked a question here? Sorry. Sorry, I'm coming to another question here. It's just so it went all the way down. Okay, yeah. Thank you, Daniel. Hey, Daniel's my agent, guys. He recommends you follow me on the Best You and the Best You Instagram or the Best You Legacy Club. Thank you, Daniel. I will send you that free little speaking slot soon. Thank you. I'm on a joke. Self-discipline is probably the biggest. Is this Michael? Self-discipline is probably the biggest challenge I ever came across. Any advice? Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But you know, kind of, I think a lot of the times it's about doing it alone, Michael. I think a lot of the times we tend to do a lot of stuff alone. What if I've learned anything is that we can't do everything alone. And we need to disconnect from the phone. We need to go back to relationships. We need to be able to be part of a network. You need to surround yourself with people that help you, empower you, push you, provoke you. But it is about self-discipline, and there's no other way. And if you write two eulogies of you carry on doing the same things where you're not being self-disciplined, and you write another one where you are self-disciplined, which is going to drive you more? That one should drive you more. So if that one's going to drive you more, go for it and ask yourself those questions. You know, how can I become more self-disciplined? How will I feel once I'm more self-disciplined? How great will I feel? How much will people look at me? How much will people be inspired by my self-discipline? You know, so kind of put those pictures in, ram it up with positivity. So it drives you. You know, people that are driven have these phenomenal, big, massive pictures in their head of where they want to go. So that's how you've got to focus. Just focus on self-discipline by one day at a time, one thought at a time, and being aware of what you're asking yourself, and never give up. Never give up, okay? Resilience, we'll talk about that. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you very much. This is helpful. That was Krishna. Yes, focus 100% results, not work, Daniel. Yeah, I agree. It's about focusing on that. Guy is sharing something here, is he? Yeah, Guy is sharing. Self-discipline is transferable skill if you can take absolute control in one aspect of your life, if you can apply it to in others. Yeah, absolutely. Self-discipline is transferable. If you're capable in doing it in one part of your life, you're perfectly, I mean, you know, just simply got to look at what you do, what your thought process is with that. And sometimes, hey, you might get someone, an NLP practitioner, to help you, a little bit of hypnosis if you're struggling with these kind of things, you know, sometimes. But again, ask for help. Surround yourself with great people. Get a great network of people that help you, that push you, promote you. Are you looking for someone to promote you? Liam, always am. You know, you're in Colombia, man. What are you doing? When are you sending me over to Medellin so I can get my book out there? Right now, the book has obviously just come out, so we're still waiting to get it translated into other languages. But absolutely, I'm kind of my job now is to get the book, the question, and the best you in all over the place. We've got a big mission. The best you now, we're on to our 5th year in the Best You Expo in London. We're on to our 2nd. I'm doing one in LA. I shouldn't even be announcing this yet, but I'm doing one in LA on the 20th and 21st of March, and that's it's in LA. I can't say more than that, but it is confirmed. So we've got 2 expos next year, but then I've got legacy clubs launching all over the world. We've got 13, 12 cities now at the moment. Okay, unfortunately, I missed the beginning of the webinar. Is there a way to download to watch it later? This will never, ever be seen ever again by no one. That's it. It was only the 20 odd people that attended out of the more than 150 that signed up. Talk about procrastinators. No, listen, I'm only joking. I have recorded it and I will share it. And I think you know that I do have, this is a webinar series. So next week, and I'll share what I'm sharing next week at the same time, I'm going to be doing another one. So I hope you join me then. Daniel, like all the amazing people that you have met and interviewed, what is one of the greatest lessons that you have learned? I've met so many great people. I've interviewed so many great people, and I don't know. I think one of the greatest things that I've learned and I love is about storytelling. You know, I'm obviously, you know, having been with Richard Bandler and you know how he tells stories and uses metaphors in order to change people's states. You know, Greg Reed, and you know what a phenomenal storyteller he is. I think it's about engaging with people in a deeper level. When you're coming from a place of love, when you're speaking with passion, when you speak honestly, I think that comes across. So for me, that's really important. And I've learned that. I think that the best people that I've been attracted to work with or engage with are people that follow those same kind of things. So being honest, telling great stories, and being congruent with your message is important to me. So I do notice myself distancing myself from people that aren't necessarily congruent. I don't want to work with anyone or everyone. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm still going to be here for a little while, but I'm going to share some links just in case some of you wanted so to find a little bit more. So my webinar next week is empowering questions, and we're going to be talking simply about empowering questions, Q&As as well, and that's next week at 6 p.m. So if you've signed up on this webinar, you did have the opportunity to sign up to the webinar series. It's every week, and then, you know, so for those of you that may want to buy the book, as I said, you can right now, if you're in the UK, okay, if you are in the UK, you can buy it on Amazon, and it is a good deal right now on Amazon. So I highly recommend that you look into that. So that's the one in Amazon. That's the link if you guys wanted to. If you have read the book, I would really appreciate if you guys would give me a testimonial. I can deal with honesty. If I'm asking you guys for honesty, I'm happy to take it. Okay, so feedback is accepted here. So there's the Amazon. There's the Amazon. Thank you so much for your great feedback. It's been a great webinar. I've hit a slump. You've given me some pointers to pick myself up. I will buy the book. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Look, let me just tell you one thing. I said this before. Never, ever, 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 ever give up. Okay. There's always, you know, out of every dark night, there's always a bright morning. There's always a more powerful and empowering question that you can ask yourself, but just don't give up. Don't ever give up. And I've done that myself. I just dusted myself. I've had bad days, but I got up in the morning, and it's something about the morning, the fresh day. It's a new day. It's a new start. And look, I mean, one of the things that I always say, just compare yourself to people that live in war zones, that don't have any electric, that don't have any water, that, you know, just compare yourself to these phenomenal, you know, human beings that are living in terrible situations. There's at the end of the book, I talk about, you feel bad, read some of these stats about people with no limbs, people with no eyes, people with no ears. I mean, you know, kind of, there's millions of people around the world. So, you know, trust me, there's always someone worse than you on the planet. So that, I'm not saying it should make you feel better, but, you know, kind of, hey, don't feel sorry for yourself. Don't do that. Okay. That's not acceptable. So for those of you that are interested in getting the book, and I do free shipping. It's pretty much the same price, but because I want to be honest with you guys, you don't have to buy it here. But I'm doing this offer, which takes you to this ClickFunnels page that I have, where you can buy the book and it's free shipping. Sorry, the links are here on the chat. I will share it, but they're on the chat. So, but even if you're on your mobile, you can click on the chat, and you should be able to see it. Okay. Now, if some of you have already bought the book, and you don't have to be, but if you are interested in finding out a little bit more about my e-course, this is it. This is a link. This is where you can literally buy the e-course. It's $59, and it gives you the opportunity for me to teach you, me with videos, asking you questions. And, you know, we cover pretty much, I cover 8 subjects, excuse me. I coach you with 8 modules. What are you here for? Number 1. Number 2, the wrong questions. Number 3, empowering questions. Number 4, success, what it is and what it isn't. Number 5, finding your true purpose, creating legacy. Number 6, how to embrace change. Number 7, honesty and questions. And number 8, the big question. So that's the book offer if you wanted it. Sorry, for the question for the e-course. Apologies. So, guys, what I've got to say, and I've never said this ever before, okay? I've never said this before. This, you group of people have been the best group of people I've had on the webinar ever. I've never said this before. And not only that, every single person that started has stayed throughout. So either you lost your phone or you've gone to cook something. But the fact is that you're all here, and I really appreciate that. You can't see the links? Well, the links are all in the chat, guys. Can the rest of you see the links? Yeah, okay. Oh, quite a few you can't. Okay, all right. Well, what can I do then? Let me just see. I'll tell you what I'll do. Just bear with me. Just give me a second. I'm going to be here. I'm just going to open a link, and then, but I'm not sure how you're going to be able to. Look, if you're interested in buying the book through Amazon, just simply go, but it is amazon.co.uk, okay? So it is amazon.co.uk that you could buy the book. They've got a great deal at the moment. It's just shipping. It's just £7.50 or something like that. I'm selling it for like $9.99, which is similar price. And we take care of the shipping, but obviously, I'm not Amazon. But if you are interested in buying the e-course, then that's where there's other opportunities if you decided to take that. So I'm going to put some links in here. I'm going to grab the links and put them on this, and I'm going to share my screen, and hopefully that will help you write down the URL. Will that work? Okay. Well, okay. Well, with your permission, I'm going to share the screen. And for those of you that cannot see the link, you can see it now. Okay, so let me know. Can you see it, you guys? Okay, so this link here, which is the https Bernardo Moya at clickfunnels.com sidebar the question equals, that basically gives you the opportunity to buy the book. Okay, great. So what it does, it gives you the opportunity to buy the e-course if you have already bought the book. Okay, so you got the book. Well, that's the opportunity for you to buy the e-course. If you haven't bought the book and you want this offer for the free shipping, this is the link. There it is. You can take it. If you're interested in buying the book on Amazon, amazon.co.uk. But I really want to emphasize here that I'm not doing this exercise in order to sell you a book, okay? I don't know if you know how much I would make from the £7 that you buy the book, but I probably owe Amazon money. Probably around 60 pence. So, I don't do that because of this. It's just because obviously we're trying to help others. We do obviously make a little bit more revenue with the e-course, but it's not about that. It's really about trying to provide you the tools if you wanted them. Okay. So there's the link. That's the link for the free book and the free book with the shipping. You pay for the shipping, and this is the link for the offer. Okay. So that's it. I think you will have it. Any other questions, anyone? Any other questions? Okay, well, hold on, there's another question here. Okay. Oh, that's better. Okay, great. Okay, well, some of you, like Guy, you can't answer question 2 or 3 because you have not read the book. That's absolutely fine. Daniel's asking me another question. When did you discover the power of asking the right questions? Well, I think it was obviously kind of with my NLP training that allowed me to, understand the importance of internal dialogue, and then being aware of the internal dialogue and making sure that I could change it, reframe it, so it's a positive one. But it was really down to my thought process of what does it take to kind of succeed and stand out. I was really reviewing what would make the difference. And I came to that conclusion that unless you did ask yourself empowering questions, it didn't really matter what you learned. It didn't really matter who your coach or your master was. If you didn't master your own mind, for you to ask yourself empowering questions, you literally weren't going to push you. So the only way you're going to push yourself is by asking questions that are going to get you motivated to take action. So, and I knew instantly. I knew instantly. I mean, not instantly, but I'm just saying is that I knew the power of it. So, look, I'm very proud of it. I think it works well, and I really hope that it can help people. I'm just really trying to put it out there so you guys can hopefully it can help. It can ask one question that can definitely inspire you to take action. Thank you so much, Liam. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. Can you please say something about your legacy events, activities, etc.? Okay, I'm going to say that and then I'm going to leave. So basically what it is that I have Michael asking me, can you please say something about your legacy events, activities, etc.? So here I am. I've done this. I've published a book, and then I went on a journey the book was ready, and then I went on a journey to try and learn more things around kind of myself. What is it I wanted to do as a speaker, as an author? How and who could I model? And then what happened was that I started really looking at how can I connect with more people. And I started thinking about masterminds. And I know there's so many people that have done so many masterminds out there. There's millions of masterminds. But I just didn't think they were enough, because it isn't about mastermind. And then I was trying to find a name of something that had a bit more meaning, something a bit more purposeful. And because questions meant purpose, and then purpose gives you clarity and then gives you legacy, then I came to this conclusion that what I wanted to call them was a legacy club. And I got to say, it was with a friend. And then, so that was it. I came up with this idea of legacy club. So what it is I've started launching these legacy clubs around the world. So people can potentially become a legacy club director, or can become potentially legacy club members. So it's a specific format where we work with each other, we help each other in business, where we build a network and we connect with each other globally around the world. And then the second thing we do is we help each other find their legacy. What is it you're here for? So then we do masterminding around legacy. And the speakers that I bring are people that are only creating phenomenal legacy. So they're charities, they're causes, they're people that have, I don't know, Olympians with 1 limb or 2 limbs, kind of like, just ridiculous things. So we business network, we talk legacy. And then the third part of what we do in a legacy club is we brainstorm, we coach, we do the freestyle, where we give people tips and techniques and ideas for them to go out there and make the world a better place. So that's it. Safe havens where we all connect on a monthly basis. I run mine in London, but now we've got them in Temecula, in Calabasas, in Northern Ireland, in Belfast, and in Mid-Ulster. We've got them in Mumbai. I'm launching one in Marbella this week, which is I'm flying out to. Someone has to. I'm launching one in Egypt. I'm launching one in Greece in mid-April. I'm launching one in Bucharest at the end of April. So people are buying into this idea of spending time focusing on legacy. I've never done anything that I've been more connected than this. It is just absolutely fantastic. So that's what the legacy clubs are about. People become members, and there's a membership opportunity. It's very affordable. It's only $365 a year, or there's a legacy club director opportunity. But what it is, it's going to become one of the biggest platforms on the planet related to personal and professional growth, to help people ultimately find their legacy. And what we do is we help individuals find their legacy, but then within the group, we create legacy. So we go out and support a cause, support a charity, raise money, go and coach in a city or town somewhere in South America or whatever. So that's what we do at the legacy clubs. And as I said, it's the most exciting thing that I'm doing right now. And ultimately, I think that's hopefully where the book, hopefully, that's where the book will take you. We'll see. You will tell me. So guys, you can email me, obviously, send me anything you want, info@thebestyu.co, info@thebestyu.co, the webpage, thequestion.co, there's some videos on there, thequestion.co, there's some videos on there. My webpage is bernardo-moya.com, and then obviously thebestyu.co, thebestyu.co, you'll see everything. That's the Best You Expo and NLPLife training, anything and everything that I do. Daniel, we're ready to come to Vancouver. I'm telling you, we'll be there soon. So guys, I wanted to thank you so much. I didn't think I was going to be here, talking so long, but you're all here. So it means I haven't bored you yet. Or as I said, you've left your phone and you've gone somewhere else. But I wanted to thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate your support, listening to me. I appreciate us exploring and sharing ideas. And if there's anything I can do, please just send me an email, info@thebestyu.co. I thank you. Appreciate you. Take care. Lots of love.